Good morning. How is everyone this morning? Good? It's nice to see you all. Today we will practice together on this lovely Sunday morning. So we'll have a sitting meditation practice and chanting meditation practice and bowing practice. And we will also listen to a Dharma talk given by Reverend Yeowon and her Dharma talk after our sitting. If you could please rise, we will do our bowing practice. I need to steal the microphone. Sorry. So we could put our palms together and face, this is the Yeowon song, which is the one circle image. And this image represents Dharmakaya Buddha, or the realm of universal truth. It is also a reflection of who we are and reminds us why we practice. So we put our palms together and we bow in gratitude to the grace of heaven and earth, honoring the beneficence of nature and the universe. We bow in gratitude to the grace of parents, for those that have nurtured us and guided us, and our ancestors, as well as our spiritual parents, and all those who have made an infinite and lasting role in our lives. We bow in gratitude to the grace of fellow beings, realizing the truth of interconnectedness. We bow in gratitude to the grace of laws, for the laws that guide us, protect us. Now, if you would turn and face, and with your beautiful smiles, your neighbor Buddhas, and welcome them as well. And then you may take your seat. Take a moment to adjust your seat. Comfy. So now we'll be guided more for our sitting meditation practice by Patty.
The method of sitting meditation is simple and easy. Sit comfortably on the floor or in a chair. Breathe in, grab all your tension, and breathe it out. Open up your chest and heart. Stretch up tall and align your spine from your neck to your tailbone. Relax your shoulders and arms, then allow your hands to rest on your knees. Bring your attention to your breath. As you exhale, release all mental and physical tension. Invite your attention to abide in your chi energy field, which is called Danjun. This is located about 2 inches below your navel and is the power center for your breathing. Open your eyes and gaze downward over the end of your nose into the floor. Keep your mouth closed and allow the tip of your tongue to rest gently against the roof of your mouth. When your mind is concentrated and calm, pure and clear saliva may gather in the mouth. You may swallow it. Relax your facial muscles and notice your gentle smile. If your face or body begins to itch, do not scratch. This is just a sign of the energy circulating in your body. Simply note the itching and let it pass. If your legs ache unbearably, you may change position very slowly and quietly so that you maintain a calm stillness and do not interrupt others. When thoughts arise in your mind, do not be discouraged or disturbed by them. Simply focus on your breathing without reacting to or playing with those thoughts. Recognize them as thoughts. They will disappear by themselves. And remember, keep bringing your awareness back to your Danjan breathing center. If you continue practicing meditation for a long period of time, you will rest in the realm of samadhi, deep meditation, in which the mind is calm, concentrated, perfectly focused, and at peace, with no distinction between self and others, time and place. We are grateful to sit quietly together, finding the still point within. May we be here now, aware of our ever calm and alert spirit.
Meditation has many forms. Please open your booklets to page 4 and 5 to join us in chanting meditation led by John Delaconte.
Yeowon Sangva Yeowon is the realm of samadhi beyond words and speech, the gateway of birth and death, transcending being and non-being, origin of heaven and earth, parents, fellow beings, lost the true nature of all Buddhas, enlightened masters, enlightened people and sentient beings. Yeowon manifests as both permanence and impermanence, fused as permanence. Yeowon unfolds into infinite word that is ever abiding, spontaneous, just as it is, fused as impermanence. Yeowon unfolds into infinite word through the cycle of formation, duration, decay, and extinction of the universe, and birth, aging, illness, and death of all beings, according to how we use our minds and bodies. In the four forms of birth we transform through 6 forms of existence, progressing or regressing with grace, arising from harm from grace. Therefore unawakened beings vow to practice wholeheartedly, modeling ourselves after Dharma Kaya Buddha by cultivating our minds and bodies deeply, knowing human affairs and universal principles thoroughly, and using our minds and bodies skillfully, thus progressing rather than regressing, and receiving grace rather than harm, until we attain the great empowerment of Yeowon and become one with the nature of Yeowon. Heart Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, when deeply practiced Prajnaparamita, realized that all 5 aggregates are empty, and thus became free from all suffering and distress. So Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. The same is true of sensations, perceptions, impulses, and consciousness. So Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease in emptiness. No form, no sensations, no perceptions, no impulses, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind, consciousness, ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, old age and death, nor extinction of them, no sorrow. attain. Bodhisattva relies on Prajnaparamita, therefore the mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist, free from delusion. Dwells in nirvana, O Buddhas of the past, present, and future rely on Prajnaparamita and attain supreme enlightenment. Therefore know that Prajnaparamita is the great mantra, is the great enlightening mantra, is the unsurpassed and unequaled mantra, which is able to eliminate all suffering. This is true, not false, so proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra, which says gone, gone, gone beyond, far beyond, now awakened. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha.
Take a moment to adjust your seat and get comfortable. Let's lift up our arms and just stretch a little after sitting so long. Taking a deep breath, stretching the arms up. Lean to one side and the other side. Let go. If you could put your hands together to welcome Reverend Yeowon.
Good morning. I would like to talk to you today about the concept of mutually life-giving relationships. Let's imagine for a moment, where's the place you most want to be right now? How would you feel if you could spend time there freely? Yes, you would truly feel happy. However, what if you were there with someone who makes you uncomfortable just by being around them? Like both in the company. Yes, it wouldn't be as enjoyable. So who would you want to be there with? Through these questions, we come to understand that what governs our minds is not time or place, but relationships. Being with people and things in good relationships brings joy to our minds, while being with people and things in bad relationships is like being in hell itself. Shakyamuni Buddha, after risking his life in search of enlightenment, gazing at the morning star, what truth did he realize? It's the understanding that all phenomena in the universe are interconnected through relationships, or what we call inyon in Korean. Despite the long history of humanity's tendencies to harm others for one's own survival, Buddha's teaching of this arises, that arises, continues to illuminate our path. Relationships refer to the connections formed between two or more entities, phenomena, or actions. Whether it's a relationship between co-workers, myself and my smartphone, myself and the country, or even spiritual connections. The world is filled with numerous relationships. However, if we were to categorize these relationships into two main types, they would be mutually life-giving relationships and mutually harmful relationships. So do you find yourself mainly engaging in mutually life-giving relationships or those that are mutually harmful? When we think about relationships, do we often ourselves recalling someone who has hurt us deeply? The course of our lives is greatly influenced by the relationships we cultivate. Mutually life-giving relationships allow both parties to thrive, while mutually harmful relationships, as vividly seen in war, result in mutual destruction. Nobody wants to solely engage in harmful relationships. However, due to our lack of understanding of relational principles, we often find ourselves stuck in harmful dynamics, forsaking happiness for pain. Therefore, I want to talk to you about the fundamental characteristics of relationships as we engage in the practice of understanding our minds and forging meaningful connections. Then what's the most important characteristic of relationships? Is that relationships aren't set in stone. We oscillate between boundless joy, thinking our current relationships will last forever, and agonizing pain, struggling in despair. But living with this awareness gives us hope. Personally, I have a habit of estimating and checking my mind. When I'm with someone who seems perfect for a lifetime, I'm not just carried away by blissful emotions, but I also remind myself, even this wonderful relationship could sour if I'm not careful. Conversely, even in relationships that seem doomed, I hold on to the thought I might still find harmony with this person. And I gradually open the doors of my heart to all relationships. The second characteristic is that I am the subject of the relationship. In other words, the relationship changes depending on how I use my mind. Just because relationships are not fixed doesn't mean that sitting idle will transform a harmful relationship into a mutually life-giving one. If I attribute the negativity in our relationship solely to the person, solely to the other person, and hand over the sovereignty of the relationship to them, that relationship will never change. Therefore, we need to undergo a shift in perception, where the center of the relationship is me, or more precisely, my mind functioning. There was someone I really wanted to form good relationship with. But as I started noticing a few flaws in her, my feelings toward her began to change. She actually wanted to get along with me too, but because I was making much effort to connect with her or open up emotionally, she ended up giving up on me. Eventually, she started hurting me with harsh words and creating a negative atmosphere between us. After putting in efforts to regain my composure, I made up my mind to restore our relationship to a positive one, despite the negative energy she was projecting onto me. No matter how much she hurt me with her words, I kept reaching out to her. Strangely, I didn't feel anxious about it because I believed that our relationship depended on how I behave And as long as I did my best, things would work out. I also didn't rush for our relationship to improve overnight. Then, one day, an opportunity came for me to help her when she was struggling, and I wholeheartedly helped her. Our relationship was restored to a mutually life-giving one, and she also helped me when I was in need. However, I never became complacent about this relationship and always made sure to be cautious of my mind. So how can we actively engage our minds to foster the mutually life-giving relationships we desire? While there may be various approaches, I would like to suggest following the footsteps of those who have historically formed such harmonious relationships. Who are they? They are the sages, the enlightened ones, the Buddhas, and the saints. Buddhas, Jesus, the founding master Sotaesan, and the other revered figures sacrificed themselves for this world and all of humanity. And even after 1,000 years, humanity still honors them and strives to emulate their spirit. What kind of mindset did they possess? They had minds as vast as empty space itself. As my minds narrow, they become so constricted that not even a speck of dust can settle. When someone doesn't meet our standards, we try to fix them. And if that doesn't work, we harbor resentment, grudges, and ultimately reject them. Even these minds are not easy for us to notice. We wish they weren't around, thinking, if only that person weren't here. Operating with a narrow mind prevents any living being from finding peace within it, making them feel imprisoned and suffering. Attempting to fill our minds only with what we consider good and eliminating everything we deem bad is a narrow-minded approach. Similarly, fixating on what we perceive as big is also narrow-mindedness. However, founding master Sotaesan taught us, who have vowed to save all sentient beings, that the capacity of our minds should be vast and grand. What does it mean to have a great mind? The sixth patriarch Henung, in the Platform Sutra on the sixth patriarch, said, having a mind as vast and expansive as empty space itself. The empty space accommodates the sun, the moon, the stars, mountains, rivers, forests, good people, bad people, evil teachings, virtuous teachings, heavens, and hells within it. Similarly, the self-nature of human beings encompasses all of this without attachment or rejection, resembling empty space. Observing all people, sentient beings, evil, goodness, evil teachings, and virtuous teachings, yet neither rejecting nor clinging to any, resembling empty space, one is said to possess greatness. This is what it means to have a great mind, a truly significant act. Venerable Henung emphasized that having nothing is not what makes something great. The empty space encompasses mountains, forests, wind, dust, good people, bad people, and even poisonous snakes, without rejecting or being tainted by anything, which is why it's vast and great. Similarly, our mind should embrace all kinds of people and phenomena without rejection or attachment to truly be considered great. When I suffered from a relationship with those who have characteristics I don't like, my teacher often used to tell me, "Look at that mountain. There are straight trees reaching for the sky, and also bent trees as well. Aren't there? Yet the mountain is beautiful because it has both straight and bent trees. If bent trees can be beautiful, why can't we see the beauty in people's bent hearts?" Whenever I stroll along the trails of one Dharma center, these words come to my mind. As I just kept reminding this teaching and action he actually showed me, something amazing happened. Little by little, I was able to look at them with a warm heart, which I couldn't imagine before. I didn't even feel any resentment toward my relatives who tried to take over my mom's house where she lives alone. I was just pondering how my family would get mutual life-giving results. Founding Master Sotaesan advised, even though a person may not see or hear you, do not hate or disparage that person, since energy is being mutually transmitted through heaven and earth. Though you may hate the person without his knowledge and may have disparaged him just once, that energy is already transmitted and a seed of mutual harm planted. And even though you regard someone highly without his knowledge and may have complimented that person only once, that energy is already transmitted and a seed of mutual life-giving planted. Then once the right conditions are finally in place, the seed of mutual life-giving will bear good fruit, but the seed of mutual harm will bear rotten fruit. Now I remind myself that merely pretending to be kind while internally rejecting and discriminating against someone who wants to change our relationship. Only by practicing the mind with great capacity, embracing all sentient beings and embodying the status of beyond the household, can relationships undergo transformation. Seeds yield their outcomes based on what is sown. Thus, while it seems difficult and distant, if we sow the seeds of Buddha in our minds, they will eventually blossom. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Am I someone who uplifts those around me? Or do I cause them distress? We often attribute the cause of our relationships issues to others and harbor resentment. I do not mean that others are without fault. I mean what we can do is regain control of the relationship. Buddhas have control of their relationships in their hands. So as you undergo changes and broaden your heart, even those who seemed unchangeable may transform. Moreover, your own mind will become healthier. To conclude, I would like to wrap up with the story of King Shun, Sun Imgum, from China. He was a farmer from a rural village who grew up under the tyranny of his stepmother and stepbrother. Despite this, Shun remained filial to his parents and loved his sibling. When the king of that time, Emperor Yeowon, heard his virtue, he married off his daughters to Shun and bestowed many gifts upon him. Witnessing this, Shun's stepmother and stepbrother, consumed by jealousy, attempt to kill Shun by setting fire to the grain warehouse while he was repairing its roof, or by trapping him in a well. Each time, Shun outwitted death. Furthermore, he harbored no resentment and continued to fulfill his filial duties, leading his family to eventually cease harming him. Emperor Yao acknowledged Shun's virtue and passed the throne to him. The sovereignty of relationships lay with King Shun, who transformed a mutual hurting relationship into a relationship of mutual life-giving. So I want to say that let us also have control of our relationships in our hands by sowing the seed of the Buddha in our hearts. If we sow the seed of aspiring to embrace all beings like a Buddha, starting from ourselves, gradually, mutually life-giving relationships will unfold in this world. May we plant the seed of enlightenment within ourselves, cultivating relationships where both we and those we encounter find peace and comfort. Have you planted your seeds today? Raise your hands if you have. Oh, so many Buddhas. I hope you will water them well from today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Reverend Yeowon. I love the, why can't we see the beauty in people's bent hearts? It's very, thank you for reminding us that relationships take effort, and they also take the ability to be able to embrace all people with equanimity and without discrimination, and then we can create harmony and uplift each other and the world. Thank you. So now we have the essential dharmas of daily practice. So you can open up your booklet to page 6, and I am going to give this back to Helen because I did not borrow it, I stole it.
Essential dharmas of daily practice. 1. The mind is originally free from disturbance, but disturbances arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the equanimity of our true nature by letting go of disturbances. 2. The mind is originally free from delusion, but delusions arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the wisdom of our true nature by letting go of delusions. 3. The mind is originally free from wrongdoing, but wrongdoings arise in response to sensory conditions. Let us restore the precepts of our true nature by letting go of wrongdoings. 4. Let us replace disbelief, greed, laziness, and ignorance with belief, zeal, questioning, and dedication. 5. Let us turn resentment into gratitude. 6. Let us turn dependency into self-reliance. 7. Let us turn reluctance to learn into willingness to learn well. 8. Let us turn reluctance to teach into willingness to teach well. 9. Let us turn lack of public spirit into eagerness to serve the good of all.
Thank you. So I have a few announcements to make. The first one is after the service, we're going to have a discussion group. So if you can stay, please do. And then I have just a few announcements. This is, if you don't know and you haven't heard of this is a very special opportunity. This is our Yongsan in Korea. This is the birthplace of the founding master and Won Buddhism. And this opportunity is we go, if you've been practicing for about a year and you're interested in this, we go and we have like an intensive and also a kind of retreat for 2 weeks. It's for 2 weeks. So if you are interested in this, deadline is quick, it's like today, tomorrow. quick. So, but if you're interested at all, please even ask me or Reverend Yu or Reverend Ginger. And then this is a retreat that's coming up in April. So this is our journaling retreat with Reverend Grace and Reverend Ginger, who are leading this. And this is journaling not in the way that you typically would think of it. It is a very unique and special practice to Won Buddhism. And this actual practice is the thing that pushed me further, honestly. It was a great gift. Thank you, Reverend Park, for this practice. So if you are interested in this is a really lovely retreat to attend and to sort of, also if you're dealing with habits in your daily life and things that you want to address, this is the practice for that. So this is on April 11th through the 14th. And then we have one more announcement, which is that we had t-shirts, our Won Dharma t-shirts, but now we have sweatshirts. So we have these lovely, beautiful, very well-made sweatshirt. I'm gonna ask Soren, because he has his on today. You can come up and model for us. Do a spin. So that's, it's really, really lovely and well made and cozy. And they are $80, and all of the money that is raised from them go right back into the community. So they are in the gift shop if you would like one. I have one, they're great. Okay, so right after this, so let's end right after this. I will say goodbye to our online community. Thank you for joining us. And then please gather together, maybe in groups of three, for Dharma discussion. Thank you. Oh, the topic. So we have, I'm sorry, I should give you a topic. This is, we should talk about Reverend Yeowon, about relationships and how do we create harmonious relationships in our lives.